Week's edition of On the Mark, Straight Talk Across the Narrows. I am Troy Liburd and I will be your host for this evening. This evening we have 2 hours of uninterrupted talk radio. You know, I'm so thankful for all of you who have decided to take your Wednesday night and spend your Wednesday night with us week after week here on the Mark. It's been a while since I've been in the hot seat, so, you know, I'm happy to be here this evening. There's quite a lot going on in the Federation as of late. I realize that everybody is now, well, not everybody, but we have quite a lot of pundits around now, and of course we are all entitled to our opinions. We are all entitled to be able to write what we want to write. ChatGPT, of course, is available to everybody, or whichever AI you want to choose. They're available to everybody out there, and so we have quite a lot of AI articles popping up right now, and I realize everybody is now a pundit, so we could talk about that too. You know, I'm so happy to be here this evening. Of course, at the top of the show, we like to take some time to welcome all of our listeners and viewers, because you cannot just listen to us on radio now, you can see us because we are live on Facebook as well as YouTube. You can definitely go to Von Radio's Facebook page and you will see us, or you can go to the YouTube page for Von Radio and you will see us there. And I think we're still going live on the Von Radio website, www.vonradio.com, so you can definitely catch the On The Mark show right there, or you can listen to us on 860, because that's the Federation's only powerhouse. I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening, wherever you are listening from. If you're listening from, you know, as far north as Canada, I have some good friends in Canada. Big shout out to all of you. If you're in the US, on the eastern seaboard, you know, if you're in New York, all of my good friends in New York, Connecticut, Boston, wherever you are, our good friends there in Washington, D.C. and Georgia and all of those places, down in Florida, our friends in California. It's a bit earlier there in California, but we know we have some friends in California who are listening, also in the Texas area and so on, and even closer to the Caribbean area, wherever you are. If you're in Taiwan, and I'm not sure what time it is in Taiwan, I think it might be morning now. If you're there and you're listening, you want a little piece of the homestead, we're happy that you have decided to join us. If you're listening from the UK, it's the wee hours of the morning there in the UK, and I know we have some folks in the UK who listen to On The Mark religiously. I know it because whenever I get off the show, I get some calls, whether in the evening or in the early morning, you know, telling me about the show, and I'm so happy that all of you are tuning in, and we're very happy that On The Mark over the years has been a show that has really brought some substance, has really kept people in the diaspora in tune with what's going on the home front. So we're just really happy that we can bring that to you week after week. Of course, the Honorable Mark Grantley, he's not here this evening, nor is the Honorable Eric Evening, but I'm here this evening, and I also have some guests with me, and a little later on I'll introduce my guests. But of course, at the top of the show, we always like to start off by, you know, sharing some sympathy with those folks out there who have suffered loss. And I want to send out our condolences to the family of Olive Williams of Brownhill, better known as Olivia. I want to send out condolences to the entire family on the passing of your loved one. Also the family of Veronica Challenger Fret, formerly of Bath Village, but resided in Brownhill. I would also like to send out condolences to the entire family. Also to the family of Hyacinth Stanley, or Henville Stanley. So I want to send out condolences to the entire Henville and Stanley family. And Hyacinth is somebody who's from Coal Hill. I reside in Coal Hill, somebody who I knew very well. I want to send out condolences to the entire family, all of her children and all of the other loved ones. And that funeral will be on this coming Saturday. So certainly my condolences and the condolences from all of us here at On The Mark to the entire family. Also the family of Mercia Omel Rollins, formerly of Brown Pasture, but who resided in Virginia, and she also goes by the name June Andrew. So for those who didn't know the first name, that's June Andrew, formerly of Brown Pasture, who resided in Virginia. I want to send out condolences to the entire family. I also want to say a word of condolences to my good friends, the Hendricksons, Tyrone Hendrickson and Dio Hendrickson and Pedro, on the loss of their father. I also want to send condolences to their mom. I would have attended the funeral for Mr. Hendrickson this past Monday, and I think those of us who know him, he went by the name Sabadullah. Right here on Van Radio, he was very popular. Van Radio would play his songs, his and his wife's songs, very, very regularly. I remember as a youngster growing up in the morning, that was a staple, especially coming on to Christmas, because they had done a Christmas album and they would regularly play that Christmas album. So condolences to the entire family there. Of course, you know, where there are lows, there are also highs. So while some persons are, you know, in the line for condolences, we also have to send out best wishes and greetings and so on to those who are celebrating. And I don't have the whole list of everybody who's celebrating. One of the good things about social media, people put out their stuff on social media regularly, and so you can go and like their photos and so on, and on Facebook and Instagram and wherever. So social media gives us the advantage that we get to know who's celebrating and so on. But I didn't need social media for this one particular person, because today is my dad's birthday, and so I want to send out a special happy birthday to my dad, Jonathan Liburd. I know he doesn't want me to call his name on the radio, but I'm going to do it nonetheless. Okay, so I want to send out a special happy birthday to my dad. Okay, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are 10 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour, and I want to thank all of you who have joined us. As I said, I have two guests in the studios with me this evening, and I will chit-chat a little bit with them, but I want everybody to, you know, hold your seat, because sometimes, today I was talking to somebody and talking to them about the show, and they told me, oh, when you go on the show, we want to hear the drama, we want to hear all that's happening in the country, we want to hear the back and forth and the talk. That's what we like to hear on the show. Okay, but sometimes that is good, but sometimes we also use the show to bring some good information that is pertinent to the people of Nevis, and so we want to bring that information now for a bit, maybe about the next half an hour or so, and then we can go into all of the drama and all of the other things that the people want to call about. So hold your calls for a bit, and then we will come to you. So my guests this evening, I want to introduce them. Both two young men from Bath Village, both from Bath Village. One from Jessops and Bath, in a kind of way. He's more Bath than Jessops now, but you know, in a kind of way, he's like me from many places. And so they're in the person of the Principal Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Sports et al. That's Mr. Jamie Claxton. And then we have the Director of the Department of Sports here on Nevis. So we don't have any small fry tonight. It's big shots we have here in the studio tonight. So we have the Principal Assistant Secretary, Mr. Claxton, and the Director of Sports, Mr. Newton. So good night, gentlemen, and welcome to Undermark, and welcome to the studios of Van Radio. I guess introduce yourself. We start with you, Jamir, and then you could give the public a little bit of why you're here this evening.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Honorable Liburd. Thanks for having us this evening on the Undermark show. It's always a pleasure being here to share pertinent information with the general public. This evening we are here to discuss some of the things that are happening in sports, especially this coming weekend. We have our road run, which is sponsored by Sol, And so we're here to share some information on that, and the director will give you more information after his introduction.
Thank you. I also would like to say a special good evening to everyone in Radio Land and all those who are watching on YouTube or wherever you're seeing us or hearing us. Tonight, as Mr. Claxton would have said, we're here to share some good news and some what's happening at the sports department and some of our activities that we have coming up. To start with, we are having our 5K, our first inaugural 5K run, sponsored by Sol and Reliable Motors. This run is slated to start from Cotton Ground and will be ending at the Villa Grounds. We'll be having an open category. Of course, we'll be having a club category too. Under 15 category, male and female, and also we want to tap into the primary schools. We'll be having an under 12 category, male and female. Interestingly enough, when I would have released the poster, the first person to message me would have been Honorable Janelle Nisbet. So I'm hoping that the cabinet will have a team. The minister would have promised me that he would be running as well, and he's now introducing Jamie as a young man. So I'm hoping Jamie would make up that team as well, because we have a very capable team at the sports department, and we'll be enough and will able to manage things. So I'm hoping he'll show up in his tights like the minister and do a little run on the 5K. For now, I don't know if you have anything else to share, Mr. Claxton, that I'm missing.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to encourage those who haven't registered as yet, whether individuals or clubs, teams, to just register. You can register. The link is available on the Department of Sports Facebook page, or you can come to the Department of Sports and register.
Okay, gentlemen. So this one is on Saturday morning. Starting at 6 a.m. from 5 turning in Cotton Ground. We're not going to the bottom of the hill. No. We're starting from up at 5 turning. If we were starting at the bottom of the hill, then I might not be able to make it to town. So I guess the start from 5 turning is for my benefit. Just last week we did a walk there with community affairs that started from the bottom of the hill and came up. It was okay to walk, but this is a 5K. I'm going to be coming in my running shoes. I have absolutely no expectation that I'm going to be in the top 50, but nonetheless, I'm coming out to take it as a fitness walk. I know that the department is trying to promote fitness among our athletes, among our clubs, our football clubs, our basketball clubs, our track clubs, all of our elite sports clubs here on the island. But it's not just about the clubs. It's also about being healthy living. So for the persons who just want to come out in a group and do a health walk or a health jog, like I will jog. And those who want to do a health run can also come out. I think it's a good little run. There are no big hills or anything like that. And it starts at 6, right?
6 a.m.
Yeah. And how do we get to we're gonna get people to?
Okay. So the department will be providing transportation. So you could come park at the Villa Ground, and then we'll provide transportation to the starting point from the Villa Ground. So we're encouraging people to be there early. Transportation departs at 5:30 a.m. They could come from there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So so you come to the Villa Ground, you park, and then we'll transport you to the start of the race. That's for persons who want to come straight there. If you feel like you could just go to 5 turn-ins and it's okay with you, but we're providing transportation from the Villa Ground to the start point of the race.
If you're fit, you could come to the Villa Ground and jog it. Jog it to Cotton Ground. Jog it to Cotton Ground, and then you turn around and come back. You know, some years ago there was the walk from the bottom of 5 turning. I think it was 2022 or so, and I decided to park in town and jog it to Cotton Ground and then turn around and come back. And I'm trying to get back into that type of shape, but I'm a little way off from that. So I'll take the lift over, and then I'll try to jog it into town. And I think that a lot of us can can come out. We can take it as an opportunity to see where we're at, and maybe it's kind of late in the year. It's not for the New Year's resolution, but we can get to that New Year's resolution, get a head start on it. Get a head start on if we want to take off that extra 5 vanity pounds or that 10 vanity pounds. In my case, I think I'm shooting for about 15 to 20 vanity pounds, and I'm going to try to use this as a little head start. But I want to encourage all of our groups to come out, the football teams and the cricket teams, and our youngsters who are in school and who are going to be preparing for the upcoming track and field season, or even those preparing for the football season, because this is going to give you that fitness, so you can be on the field throughout the duration of the game. If it is track and field, that you can make it around the track. It gives you that early season fitness. It's always good to run to be healthy, and so I'm very happy that the Department of Sports have come up with this, and this is just the first race in a series of races, right? So perhaps you could tell the public a little bit more about what you have planned in terms of these races.
Okay, so we have a number of other races planned for the rest of the year going into the new year. Some tentative dates: October 18th, November 15th, December 13th, and January 10th. Of course, we're going to try to change up the route a bit every time, so we're not doing the same exact route all the time. And then, so just stay tuned for information specific to those dates. So the first race is this weekend, September 20th, and then you could look forward to October 18th, November 15th, December 13th, and January 10th. So like the minister said, by the time we reach to January 10th, people like himself and me should be a little bit fitter, a little bit leaner, hopefully, because we intend to participate in all these races, and then we're encouraging everybody to participate in it. Minister, just to think about it, persons would have reached out to me today once the flyer would have dropped, and persons who want to partake but they don't want to run, they say they're going to come and walk, which is good, so I encourage them. So persons who may have reservation about being the only walkers, there are going to be a number of persons walking the road, so I'm encouraging you to come out and just walk the road.
My running pace might be walking pace too. So, you never know.
So just encourage.
It might start out like that, and who knows, by the time we get to November, I might actually be running faster than the walkers are walking. So what I'll say is come how you are.
Yes.
And let's try to make it better. Maybe do a before picture, and then you do a picture sometime, and don't just wait for the Department of Sports races. Do a little exercising in between, so that by the next time you get to the next race, you could time yourself and maybe have a better race, maybe improve a little bit. I'm gonna have to go back and listen back to this show so that I could take some of my own advice too. I think that's important.
Well, we're very much part of the push for a healthy Nevis, and so we're playing our role, and that's why we've come up with this initiative. And so we're encouraging the general public to join us. At the end of the day, but I say health is wealth.
Definitely. So gentlemen, we've spoken a bit about this race, about the other 4 races to come, and since you're here on the radio, what else is happening in terms of sports and Nevis? What else do you have, on the docket that's happening soon? I know we have primary school football that's supposed to be coming up, and I know we have been doing some things with cricket. Just recently, last term we had the primary school cricket tournament, and then after that we went into a 3-game series. So what else do you guys have planned in terms of cricket for these youngsters?
Yes, let me start right where you left off, Minister. Where the cricket is concerned, I think last year would have had a very extensive season. Last year would have aim to have the kids playing more cricket, because we believe that the teacher is the game is the best teacher of the game. So we extended the cricket season. We took away the zone thing, and then we went to a single round robin. We also, in the summer, we had a couple of People came in, worked with the kids. Also in the Easter, we had the cricket in the schools program where the sports department would have gone into the schools and provided necessary support. And now we are moving into a place where we are saying we want a place to hone these talents that we would have identified, and we are going to be launching our cricket academy next week, Wednesday. We had a little setback with some equipments, but they are here now, and we are ready to go. We are going to launch, like I said, Wednesday.
Yes.
Where we want to have some 120 kids actively playing the sport of cricket. Also, you touch base on the football. This year, our football is slated to start October 4th. We also want to extend the football season as well, and we will be looking to play more football. So on the 28th, we'll be kicking off with our Soccerama. 28th happens to be my 28th of September, which happens to be my birthday, and I would have tell them, go ahead with it. You want to see the kids them playing, nothing should stop this football business. So the 28th, we're going to kick off with the Soccerama. From the 4th of October to the 3rd of November will be the football season. So I think the sports department is active, as I would say, and we are continually trying to move the sporting barrier as we go along.
So what's involved with the Soccerama on the 28th?
The Soccerama will encompass all schools. What we are doing, we are giving them a platform to see where they are, to see who they will be coming up against. This year, we will be having 9 schools competing. I think the Soccerama will give them a benchmark to see where they are. The coaches would have been putting in some work. We see them training, we see them putting on their own efforts. At Charleston, I see them on a Sunday putting on football tournaments amongst themselves. In St. Thomas, the same doing much of the same. I see my good friend Doug at the flats doing his own thing on a Sunday and even during the holiday. So the coaches are putting in the work, and we are ready for them.
And in recent times too, our primary school football tournament has started to become somewhat of an attraction.
Very much so.
I've noticed last year that the crowds were. I must say, every day that I went to watch football, I was very pleased with the crowd. And I've been around for a little while, and primary school football has been around, but it was not like this where people were looking forward to it like they're looking forward to it now. So what are some of the things that you guys have introduced? What are some of the changes that you have put in place to ensure that it is now something that people are looking forward to? So tell us about some of the things that you have brought into the game.
So, Mr. Like yourself, I've been around and observed the primary school football for a bit, and we always listen to ideas from persons. We always looking for ways to improve the product, and one of the main thing was that parents were saying, because of when the matches were being played, which was sometimes during the day, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or so in some cases we would have had morning games. The parents are not able to come out and watch the children play unless you could run away from work. And so one of the major moves we made was to start the games them later in the day, and that really drummed up a lot of interest because parents were able to either come after work or work to their lunch hour, and then so they could leave work a little bit earlier to come and attend the game. So that was one of the major moves that we would have made. Also, we would have introduced weekend games recently, something that has never happened before. And so games were played on Saturday and a couple instances on Sundays, and we recognized that the crowd came out, families came out, the players were able to see the brother, sister, mother, uncle, everybody in the crowd watching them. So these were 2 of the significant moves that we made then in terms of changing how we put on the matches, and that had a immediate impact on the number of persons coming out to watch the game. So those were 2 of the most significant changes. Last year we would have also moved from the zoning to everybody playing everybody, and that also helped. The more matches, momentum continued to build. Even some of the so-called smaller schools, they themselves, because of being having the opportunity to play so many more matches, they would have been also bringing out a big crowd, persons supporting them and so forth. So these were some of the subtle changes that were made, but the changes were made based on conversation, observation, and data gathering, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
So what would be the venue for the games for the football?
The main venue will be ETW Park. We think it's best that we centralize the games
Okay. So all of the games are going to be there?
for the most part.
Okay. And where would for those that are not at ET, where are we looking at for those games?
So for now, all games are going to be at ETW Park unless there's something to
Okay. So unless something comes up.
that,
Right.
yeah, cause us
Okay.
to make a change. Persons like that, the games are there.
Mhm.
It's easy access.
It's in town.
It's in town.
Central.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does the public access the game? And I know that last year there wasn't a overhead charge, but for the semi-finals and the finals, we did charge a small fee, which most of that fee that we charge went back to the schools,
Right.
just so that the general public knows the money that we collected from I think it was the final, all of the money from the
All,
final?
yeah.
All of the money from the final went back to the schools. We shared it up between the various schools in the tournament. And so what's the plan for this year in terms of, the general public accessing the games?
Yeah, so in terms of the general public access in the game, and again, this came from conversation with a lot of persons in the general public last year. As you would have mentioned, we would have only charged a small fee for the semi-finals and finals. But since the start of the league, persons were telling us we need to pick up something at the gate, And as you would have mentioned, the idea is whatever is collected goes back to the schools to help with their program, not necessarily football only, but anything that is school. And so we intend to do something similar this year. We'll also charge for the regular season game. We are currently discussing the potential price cost for the game, but we are of the same mindset that the money collected will go back to the schools. In addition to that, something that we did last year, every school had an opportunity to work the bar. They were given the dates, and they would have choose which days they wanted to work the bar and so forth. And so when people see the big crowd and so, just know that a lot of the revenue generated or that was generated goes back to the schools. Basically all. Yeah, and so we use this opportunity. This is our way of giving back to the school. 'Cause we still have expenses that we have to take care of. Yeah, but we don't use the money generated from the gate and so forth. We send that back to the schools.
But so I want to say a special thank you to our good friends at National Bank also.
I was coming to that, of course. For the football, National Bank has been on board as the title sponsor. They're the major sponsor for the football, but National Bank has not just been a sponsor for the football, but they have been a partner with the ministry on many different things. Throughout the entire year, they've been partnering with us, whether it's on quizzes, whatever, the things are. But on the football, they are now the title sponsor. And I think I've told the story before, but it's worth saying again. The big fish that we have in the ministry, of course, is the inter-primary championships. And that's the meet that everybody wants to come on board and be the sponsor for the inter-primary championships. And I remember, having the discussion with National Bank, who they are also a partner with us on the inter-primary championships. And I said to them, in terms of title sponsorship, we have this football and we think it's going to be big based on some of the plans that we have in mind. I think that the public is going to catch on to it sooner rather than later, and we would like you all to come on board and do the football with us. I think they were a little bit skeptical at first, but true to form, National Bank, they are good corporate citizen, and they said, we'll take a chance and we'll come on board for the football. And I think after they came on board and they realized, they saw, after we made these changes and they realized that the crowd was coming out every game day, and every game day the crowd was getting bigger and bigger and bigger,
right.
And then it built and built and built until we had this crescendo on the final with a really, really big crowd, almost like an inter-primary type crowd. And I think they felt very good, having come on board and sponsored. And so we expect them to be back on board again with us this year. And notwithstanding the fact that the National Bank, that they are the title sponsor, that doesn't mean that, you know, other corporate entities can't come on board with us, can come on board to partner with us on the football. Of course, we would welcome you to come on board. If you don't want to come on board directly with the Department of Education or the Department of Sports, you can certainly sponsor the one of the schools. I know the schools have their sponsors who would help them out with the inter-primary championships, but you know, they also need sponsorship, you know, for the football tournament and for other things. So I would want to ask, you know, some of those out there in the corporate world, some of the corporate entities out there, to come on and give back. We know from time to time you give back, but we want to ask you for a little bit more. You know, come on with our schools and so on, and be a part of the football. Also, the football is going, it's not a one-day thing. It runs from October 4th to November 3rd. So you will get quite a lot of highlight, and the public is out there now supporting it, and these are the same members of the public that are supporting your businesses and so on. And so we want to encourage you to come out and as much as possible to support them. I think the football, I have had this projection in my mind for a couple of years now that the football is going to be really big. I think it's going to be bigger this year than it was last year. I'm looking forward to that. By the grace of God, we will continue to press on with it. And I know with you guys leading, and of course with the people from education also, because it's a partnership. We have good people in education like Miss Fraser and so on, who she heads up that charge from the education standpoint. But it's not just her, it's a whole team. You know, you might see one or two persons at the forefront, but bet your bottom dollar that it is a team. You know, quite a lot of folks in the Department of Education and at the Department of Sports, and even at the Department of Youth, because they also come on board to assist with doing these things from the very brainstorming coming all the way down to the execution. It is quite a lot of teamwork, and then we have volunteers and so on. And of course, while we're talking about this, the schools play a big part, and the coaches. Can't say enough about the coaches. I think Mr. Newton, you would have said earlier that these coaches are out on Sunday.
Right.
You know, so sometimes people out there and they're working and they feel like it's a thankless job, but we see what you know they're doing, and the people out there in the public see what they're doing, and so I want to thank them for the hard work that they're putting in. You know, day in, day out, they're working with these children, and my hope is that, you know, from this group of young people, that we will see somebody push on and become international, maybe at football, maybe at track and field. Right now we're having the track and field world championships, and we had one athlete, I think, representing the federation at the track and field championships in Japan, and I'm very happy that we have that one athlete going. The athlete is a young man. He was just in high school the other day.
Yes, he was just
I think
Akanye.
Samuels. Yeah, I remember him running at Inter High and so on. And so I feel good that he has gotten that, but I don't feel good because we only have one athlete. You know, and I think with the amount of push we have in the federation for track and field and so on, that we should be able to send more athletes. I used to enjoy watching track and field back in the day when in the heyday of Kim Collins and those days. Kim went out there and he did something remarkable, and I don't know how many people in the federation realize, but in terms of a male 100-meter title, world championship title, only 5 countries have ever won that 100-meter title. You know, I think it's the United States, Jamaica, Canada, Great Britain, and St. Kitts and Nevis. Right? All of those other countries are like huge countries with millions of people. You know, Jamaica is the next smallest to us. You know, and you know you can last St. Kitts and Nevis inside Jamaica.
Right.
And so that was a big thing. I don't think that that Kim gets the kind of recognition
What he
that he
deserves.
should get, and I'm publicly calling for a bit more recognition for him, because he would have done World Championship gold, and then he would have won a couple other medals, and then also a relay medal. And we used to have this relay team that used to go out and make finals and so on.
Yeah.
So to come from that to now where we have one athlete, and I'm happy, for him. But I think I would want to see a few more, and it starts right, down here at the primary school level and so on. It's for the athletes to push on, and I'm looking forward to seeing that, and whatever we can do from a government perspective, we would want to try to do. But the athletes have to do it, the coaches have to do it. We have to get them off to where they can get top level coaching and so on, and get them out there on the world stage. And I think you guys are doing a really good job with what you're doing. But for me, I want to see our athletes push on. I know we've been getting athletes going off to university now for football.
Right.
In recent times, we've been getting some basketballers going off to different prep schools and so on. And we've had some track athletes go off. For me, I want to see, a few of them turn out and be world class. And I could sit down and watch it on TV or on my cell phone or wherever people watching these things now, and feel good and jump up and say, that person is from St. Kitts and Nevis. Gentlemen, come in.
I mean, so I also want to echo the sentiments as regards to Kim Collins. I do think that his achievements have somewhat been undervalued, and I'm also calling on the powers that be to kind of do something to really immortalize this particular individual. In terms of winning a world championship, the first world championship for St. Kitts and Nevis could only ever be done once. The first world championship could only ever be done once. So I too want to see something more significant happen for Mr. Collins. I think he would have easily put St. Kitts and Nevis on the map in terms of track and field. Not saying that there were persons before him, because I know there have been some outstanding athletes before him, after him, around the same time as him. But in terms of, and how I know how significant Kim Collins is, I traveled to San Marino with the national team 2 years ago, and we were there to play football, but persons came out to see us because we are the country that Kim Collins came from. As a matter of fact, when we were journeying to San Marino via Italy, there were persons who wanted us, if it's possible, to bring Kim Collins' autograph, shirts and so forth. So Kim Collins has really put St. Kitts Nevis on the map. And I would have experienced it in terms of how significant his achievement was because of the persons that were interacted with over in Europe, especially on that particular trip, that we are there to play football, but they came to look out and support us because Kim Collins is from St. Kitts and Nevis. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So gentlemen, we are at 8:40. So I'm gonna let you guys do a little wrap up. Talk a little bit, give a final word on maybe the relay this weekend to encourage the public to come on out and so on, and then I'll get into the talk that the general public wants.
Yeah, Minister, again, I would like to encourage the general public to come out and support the 5K run. We are all about encouraging a healthy lifestyle. I think it's a very good team building exercise also for the clubs, and I think you spoke extensively. This is not just for the track clubs. The football teams, the cricket teams, I've spoken. My good friend Pastor Clark would have told me he would be bringing the whole of Bath United Football Club. Kezzy and them guys at Brownhill tell me he's going to bring Brownhill team. My good friend Sket told me he's going to bring his club as well. So as many clubs as possible, a number of individuals would have contacted me. We are hoping to have a wonderful event. Again, we want to thank Sol for coming on board. I think the event is going to be
I think we should give the public a little idea of how the club run part goes, so they would know what they're looking at.
All right, then. So for the club run, the club part, we're going to be utilizing a point system. So let's say you come first, you may be getting 20 points, and we break it down accordingly. So the top 7 persons who come in from your club in those positions, when we tally the point, then you will know which club finishes first. So we will encourage in a club effort. We will have placement for first, second, and third in that category. I think it will be pretty straightforward, a cross-country style kind of point system. The clubs, we've sent out the point system to the clubs, so that wouldn't be an issue.
Okay, wonderful. And for people like me, who will be jogging at walking pace, you know, I guess my prize would be fitness.
Again, we have plenty of prizes. You might just get
a ribbon also.
No, from Carl. A gas voucher or something, you know.
Okay, so we have Carl will be well, the sponsors are Sol and Reliable Motors.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you're saying Reliable Motors will be giving some gas
vouchers and so
vouchers
on. And so on.
Persons who participate.
Right.
Okay. Carl is a good corporate citizen,
right.
Reliable Motors, so and the race ends close to him too. So yeah, I look forward. I think people expect me to come last, you know. But I'm not going to come last. I will make that pronouncement here on the radio. So nobody tape me though, but hopefully I will be at the front of the back group, not in the back of the back group.
Ahead of Jamie.
Well, I'm going to be ahead of some people. I can guarantee you that. And one thing too is that I'm going to improve over the duration of the 5 races. So wherever I'm at the beginning, I want to move forward. I want at least by the last one, I want to end up close to the clubs.
Right.
So that's my goal.
Middle of the park.
Yeah. Close to the clubs. So
Minister, thanks again for having us.
Yes.
Thanks again for having us. Again, thanks for the support. I think you've been very supportive of all these initiatives.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I just also want to really thank the minister. Whenever we come to him with an idea, he's very supportive. He also lends his ideas as to how we could go about successfully executing them. So we really appreciate the support.
Definitely,
we really appreciate the support, and we'll continue to push on to do things that benefit the whole of Nevis.
Thank you very much for coming, gentlemen, and we look forward to this first run on the weekend, and we look forward to the other runs as we progress towards the end of the year. We look forward to this fitness journey, and you know, for all of our clubs, all of our athletes, and for folks in the general public who just want to get in, you know, a little better shape. Maybe those who want to go to Carnival, you could use these runs as your fitness runs also for that. For those who are interested in that type of stuff. So thanks for being here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to On the Mark with your host Troy Liburd. It is now 8:45, 15 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour, and we are ready to go. So what has been happening out there in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis now? What do we have out there to talk about? Certainly today is the 17th, the 17th of September, which means that tomorrow is the 18th of September, Thursday the 18th of September, and then on Friday it's going to be the 19th of September. And what is the significance of the 19th of September? When I was a little boy going to school, I learned that St. Kitts and Nevis became independent on the 19th of September 1983, and so we are now heading to the 19th of September 2025, and that means we're going to be celebrating 42 years as an independent nation. And what a thing that is. And I believe that it is important that we as citizens of this tiny federation, the small federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, that we have a lot of things to be thankful for. And I want to give, you know, God the thanks for bringing us this far as a nation. you know, just this week, the Ivor Walters Primary School, one of our primary schools here on the island of Nevis, they were celebrating their 60th anniversary. So the 60th year of the Ivor Walters Primary, which was the Prospect Primary before, but then it was named in the honor of one of the former principals of the school, Mr. Ivor Walters. They celebrated 60 years in existence, and I was asked to bring some brief remarks to congratulate the school, which I was so happy to do. And when I brought those remarks, I was, you know, sometimes people like me, we go up and we don't walk with a speech, so we just talk, you know, what comes to mind at the time. And when I went up to speak, you know, I was impressed to talk and to, so I quoted a little scripture, because I am somebody who grew up in the church, and you know, I know my Bible, and so I quoted a little scripture. And after speaking, you know, some persons say maybe I'm in the wrong calling, but nonetheless, you know, I was drawn to say it. And now reflecting on the fact that St. Kitts and Nevis, that we are celebrating 42 years of independence, I think it's important that we remember that we didn't come this far on our own. We didn't come this far just because of what we did, just because of our own efforts, but a lot of it is because of the grace and the goodness of God towards us. And so I want to give God, you know, all of the praise and all of the thanks. And the scripture that I quoted was a scripture by David, because I like David, and David was the psalmist. And you know, when you're young, you grow up and one of the first things you learn is the 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, you know, I shall not want. All of that, you learn that. But I particularly like David. And David, he has a lot of good sayings. And one of the things that he said in, I think it was the 33rd chapter of the Psalms, was, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are a God-fearing community. And so it has shown on us over these 42 years of us being an independent nation, because we are certainly a blessed nation, and our God is the Lord. And so I think that has been a big part of who we have become as a federation. And it's important that, you know, whatever we do, that we always remember to keep God front and center in what we are doing. And so, you know, I want to say from here at the studios of Van Radio, happy independence to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are the smallest sovereign nation in the Western Hemisphere. I don't think that gets said enough, because sometimes when people are talking, people come on the radio and they pontificate about all manner of things. They say this is not happening and that is not happening, and the government is not doing this and the government is not doing that. And I think it is important that we remember that we are the smallest sovereign nation in the Western Hemisphere, and we're not doing badly. Our economy is much better than any of the other economies around here in the OECS. We are the #1 economy in the OECS. And, you know, sometimes you hear people talking, they come on the radio and they talk and they say, oh, thing going bad and this going that way. But what is the yardstick that they're using to measure? You know, I mean, what numbers are they using to back up the things that they are saying? And a lot of times people just talk because talk is free, I guess, and so they want to come out and just, you know, say whatever they want to say. And, you know, I often wonder, right, because we've been independent for a little while now. And I often wonder if those persons, our forefathers, who were the ones who were fighting in the struggle to get us to where we are now, if they were to come back, you know, if they could have returned today for a day and see how far we have progressed here in the Federation, see some of the things that we have accomplished, see some of the progress that we have made, and I guess they would see, you know, the work that is yet to be done, things that we still have to do. What would they say to us? You know, that is something that I have pondered, and I believe that, you know, some of them would say to us that this is our time. You know, this is your time. They have already played their part. They have already laid the foundation for what the Federation is, and now it has fallen to us who are here in this generation to build upon that foundation that they have laid, to use the advantages that we enjoy today. We have access to modern technology and so on that they never had. So it's for us to use our advantages to build upon that foundation, to preserve our heritage, and to ensure that Nevis and our Federation is on a stronger footing than when we ever got it. You know, and that we leave a better Federation for the next generation. For those of us, you know, people who are called to lead, those who are the leaders in the Federation, we must carry out our duty, not because we want anybody to honor us, not because we want honor or self-aggrandizement, but it should be with a spirit of service. And we must not only think about today when we are making decisions, but we must labor at all times with tomorrow in our hearts. And I believe that, you know, we should be looking at this thing, that when our time in leadership is done, that we should leave behind a country that is stronger than we met it, more united and better prepared for those who are coming after us. We should leave the place in a good way. That's what I think. Each of us, no matter how small we think that we are or how small we think our contribution is, we all have a part to play in nation building, in building our Federation. And I believe genuinely that one day history will ask us, what was the legacy of this generation? What did we do? Will we be remembered for being indifferent? Will we be remembered for division or for forgetfulness? Or will we be remembered for our strength and our example? I really believe that this is our time. It is our time to strengthen our island, this island of Nevis, and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis as a whole. And we must do it through unity. We must do it through zeal and through love for each other. I believe that at all times we should stand up for what is good and for what is right. It is our time to move the Federation forward, not just for ourselves, but for the country, for the people we love, for the brothers and sisters beside us, for our children today, and for the generations yet unborn. Those yet unborn who will call this beautiful Federation their home one day. That is what I believe. So as we celebrate our 42nd anniversary of independence, I think we should ponder on, you know, these things, ponder on where we are as a people, and we should look at progress in a holistic way, not just criticize for the sake of criticizing. I know that at this time there are some who they would want to be in government, but the people have not seen it fit to put them in government. And I heard a long time ago that the voice of the people is the voice of God. So the people have not seen it fit to put them in government. And so for that reason, they will walk the length and breadth of Nevis. And every single thing happening in Nevis, they want to criticize. They criticize the good, the bad, and the in-between. Every single thing they criticize. You do good, they criticize you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark with your host, Troy Liburd. We are just about at the 9 o'clock hour, and of course this is a call-in show, and so I want to open up the lines, and I want to hear, if there's anybody out there who has anything that they want to talk about. I can continue to talk, of course, but I would certainly want to open up the lines. When the lines are open, the numbers to call are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. So I'm looking forward to your calls. Certainly you can call in to talk about just about anything that's happening in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis right now. Who's going to be our first caller for tonight? Of course, we are celebrating 42 years of independence, and we've come a very long way in the Federation. I remember as a youngster, one of the things about the Federation, why I can talk the way that I talk, is that the Federation is kind of aging with me, because I was born just a few years before we went independent. So as I have aged, the Federation has aged, and as I have matured, the Federation has sort of come of age in a way. And I believe that it is high time that we raise the standard of politics in the Federation. We don't just talk politics for the sake of talking politics, or criticize for the sake of criticizing. I mean, I've looked at social media over the past few days, and I've noticed that there's a whole flood of articles and so on social media now, starting to speak about the special sustainability zone and all of those type of things. And for the life of me, I've been wondering, where are all these, fake Facebook pages coming from? It seems as though, quite a lot of persons now are employing the use of the AI. AI is there for everybody, and I'm happy that we are using AI. That is one of the things that we have been trying to institute in our schools, the uptake and the usage of technology. That's something that we want to bring into our schools. So I'm happy to see that folks out there in the general public are now gravitating to using AI. But some of the things that I see going up, just some real idle things, and a whole lot of, what's the correct term? I'm looking for a term. Yes, I have the correct term. A whole lot of fear mongering. That is what we are seeing. Just a whole lot of fear mongering going on. People talking all kind of different things that I don't even think should come into the conversation at all. So it's just a whole lot of different things that I see out there that people are talking about, and I really don't know how they come in. It looks like the lines are very quiet tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the lines are open. The numbers to call 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. They're open. And who's going to be our first caller to call in? And let's get the show going with all the calls. Okay, we have our first caller for the night. You are on the mark. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I want to pour some cold water on the independence celebration, because King Charles said the independence in this region don't mean nothing if we can't all be independent as one.
Why you want to chuck cold water on it though?
Because we don't have no independence.
Why would you say that?
Independence don't exist. It's an illusion. Stop. You educated people keep telling us for years. Illusion. We are vassal of state of Britain and America. That state.
And why would you say that?
We have, because we want to be. What's Gaza? The United Nations has just declared that genocide is happening in Gaza. What is our move? We sit down and we mouth shut. Nothing done. We have we lost humanity. We just following what the global north is saying we must do, dictating to us. Could any independent nation be dictated like that? We have no moral conscience. I asked Amnesty International to investigate the police in 2016, and for that, the American put the foreign affairs of a St. Nevis to work against me, to tell pure lie to the French embassy to block me from getting a visa. And when the government changed and asking this new government to help, none of them help me, because America will dictating to them what they must do. Me, a servant of St. Kitts and Nevis, being harassed to death in Guadeloupe for asking Amnesty International to investigate the police and put forward 10 cases. The police is involved in murdering people in St. Kitts. And that's one, these two governments, PAM and Unity, joined with
Carla,
the CIA.
Carla, we can substantiate, some
but I'm telling you my experience that you substantiate, young guys.
Well, I am just saying, but remember, this is radio that you're on, okay? So we will have to be careful. Yes, but remember, you're on radio. We're going live on the air, and so we can't make any claims that we can substantiate.
The bloody mafioso down, you're trying to kill me in Guadeloupe.
Okay, Carla. Carla, you have a wonderful evening, and we want to thank you for your comment. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're calling on the show, we want to ensure that we keep it 100 and we keep it things that we can substantiate. We don't want to come on the air and make any claims that could put the On The Mark show in a state of disrepute or on radio. So when we come on the air, we want you to make your points, be forceful with your points, but let's keep it as respectful as possible, respectful to the show and respectful to the general public. Do we have another caller? Yes, we have a caller. Caller, good evening. How are you? You're on the mark.
I'm okay. I just been calling to discuss nothing. I just calling to say I lose my dad in England. His name is Desmond Hendrickson, but he better known as Salpan. So anyone who know him, I would like to let them know that my dad had passed away in England. Desmond Hendrickson,
better known as
Salpan.
Salt Pan?
Yes.
Okay. My condolences to you. And
Thanks very much.
Said he was originally from Nevis?
Yes, and to the rest of my sisters, my brothers, and also the grandchildren and great-grandchildren and the rest of the family of my dad.
Okay, caller. Please have my condolences also.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
And the funeral will be on the 29th of this month.
Okay, and will there be a live stream? Where will the funeral be?
In England.
In England. Will there be a live stream so that family members and well-wishers from here in the Federation could?
I hope okay. So.
Okay, thank you very much, caller.
You're welcome.
All right, and condolences to you and your entire family.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark, and we will try to stick with the lines. Do we have another caller? No more callers. I thought everybody would have wanted to be calling in to wish the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the very best on 42 years of independence. I know the gentleman said that a bit earlier, our first caller, that we don't have true independence, but I think true independence is what we make it, and we in the federation have been able to, for the most part, we have been able to do the things that we want to do as a federation, and of course we have to exist in the world. That means we have to depend on other countries. We're an island. We don't have natural resources. We don't make cars here. A lot of the things that we utilize, we don't make them here, so we have to import them from elsewhere. I don't think we have things like oil and that type of thing. All of our vehicles use whether it's gasoline or diesel or whatever it is. So quite a lot of what we do depends on other countries, depends on that foreign investment and so on. We have to send out money to buy these things, and we therefore have to get money in. That's kind of how the country works. That's why we depend so heavily on things like tourism, because that brings in money into the federation. Because of course, if you're only sending out money to buy all of the things that you consume on the regular and nothing is coming in, then it means that the money will be going and less will be in the country. So that's why we need investment. That's why we need things like tourism, and then other investments. In recent times, one of the things that has been big, we hear a lot of people saying the country needs to find other sources of investment, other sources, to bring money into the economy. And pretty much as a government, that's what we are trying to do, day in and day out. We are out there looking for the investments, and hopefully we're going to be able to attract some big investors to the island of Nevis. We have properties such as the Four Seasons who have been doing really, really well, and we would want some other properties to complement what they have been doing. I think most of us who are old enough would remember what life was like on Nevis prior to having a property such as the Four Seasons, and we would have been able to see what that one major investment would have done for us here on the island of Nevis. And even if you look over to St. Kitts, there are properties there such as the Marriott, and in more recent times you have the Park Hyatt, and then you also have the Royal St. Kitts, which that one was just renovated in recent times. And these properties are all a part of the tourism product. Also in the federation, we would have had the CBI, or the Citizenship by Investment, which has sort of brought in quite a lot of revenue into the federation. We have a caller on the line. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Okay, we've lost that caller. Callers, when you're calling, please bear with us, be patient, and of course we will try to take as many calls as we can take. The numbers to call 869-469-1616 or 1700. So please be patient with us when you're calling in. Try to stick around until we can get to you. Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the mark.
Hi, good night.
Yes, good night.
Yeah, I'm not patient, I ring, this phone ring out, you get that?
Yes,
this
yes.
phone ring out, so you can't, you just have to just call again, can ring out, right? Watch me now. Let me say, you're on Melbourne, right? Right. So, let me say, happy independence to you and to the Federation. And me love for you people talk about God. Yeah? So me directly love when you mention things about God. Although the people, even the Federation, no believe in God, right? You know that.
You believe that?
Me know that. But you hear them on different talk shows. You get that?
Well, yeah, some of them on the other talk shows, we know that.
Anyway, hear me now. You may say that like for the independent, and then you may talk about the zone. Then you may talk about 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but this zone now different to the 4 seasons, ain't it?
The zone meaning
The zone now that
or the thing that people talking about, the special sustainability zone.
Yes.
So caller, with the special sustainability zone, what has happened is that a law has been passed in the federal parliament to enable the government, meaning either the federal government or the Nevis Island administration, to be able to designate an area as a special sustainability zone. Okay?
Yes.
So
all that.
yeah. So what has been passed is just the enabling legislation so that it can happen. It doesn't mean that a zone has actually been designated as yet.
Me know all that. Me know everything. Me know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Here what me say. Me say that you compare 4 seasons with the zone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's 2 different things. 4 seasons and the rule and the control of Navy.
Mm-hmm.
The zone are go under the rule and the control of Navy.
And why would you say that? Why would you say that?
If you go got your own custom, if you go got your own this, if you go got your own that.
And where did you see that, caller? Oh, you heard that?
Yeah, me heard that.
Okay, you see, caller, there's a lot of misinformation that's going around.
Not go like that.
There's a lot of misinformation that's going around.
Me listen to the debate na the federal.
So
yeah, me listen to the debate.
So if you would have heard the premier speak before, the premier would have said that in recent times something has come to the government which is very preliminary for the cabinet to have a look at, which is going to be an initial look at it, and then after that there would be probably some discussions and so on. So one of the things that you would have heard is that whatever it is in a very preliminary stage. Okay, so a lot of the talk that's going around, it's as if somebody has already gone and done something and it's a done deal and this is what it's going to be, and that is far from the truth, Carla.
No done deal.
So if a developer comes in and they have an idea and they're saying, well, this is what we want to do, and something is submitted to the government, then now it is for the government to look at it and to say, well, these things can work, and then there are some other things that, okay, we might not be so keen on these things, so let's have a discussion. Okay?
Yeah.
But
try, you still talk a little different because of the little pushing back. Still talk a little different to what may take place on the federal, right?
What's that?
I talk different. You talk different now. Okay, try. Let me ask you just this little question. You see what debate down the parliament? The bill that go to the federal parliament.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
I have a copy of it in front of me.
Exactly. A part ending say that in case one problem, the court matter are going to take place in Miami instead of the federation.
No.
No part in the like that.
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay. Okay then. Let me leave it right.
You're hearing a lot of things. you see, caller.
Let me let for right the try. Let somebody else get in and me one.
Yeah, but as I said, I have a copy of the legislation in front of me, and you know, one of the things about news tend to travel really far, and bad news travels really fast. Negativity travels really fast. You know what trickles out slowly? The truth. The truth tends to trickle out very, very slowly, because sometimes the truth is not necessarily what people want to hear, and people are going to run with what, you know, suits their purpose at the time, and what they feel like they want to hear, and so they're going to go. I've heard, you know, quite a lot of talk about special sustainability zone and so on. I've seen articles that have come out now on Facebook where people are saying, well, say no to this thing because this thing is so terrible, without even stopping to take pause to say, well, let us analyze the situation. What we know is that the world is changing, and in many places in the world now, they have set up what they call special economic zones. I guess special sustainability zone is a play on special economic zone, because nowadays, once you add the word sustainability and so on, it adds so many different things to what you can do. That word now is one of the key words that's out there. People are very environmentally conscious now. People are very health conscious now. So you know, once you put something and you say we're looking to be, you know, one with the environment, in tune with the environment, then that is something that is attractive to a certain type of person. Those might be the people who we might want to attract here to the Federation. And so, you know, using the word special sustainability zone as opposed to special economic zone, you know, it helps to distinguish, you know, us and our product. But special economic zones have been set up in many, many places in the world. And what it is just a zone where within which businesses and persons operating within that zone, they have certain advantages. And I was speaking before about us being an island and needing foreign direct investment to come in. So persons with certain businesses and so who can find advantage from operating within the zone, you know, they might want to come to operate from there, and of course that would bring a benefit to us. That would bring some foreign direct investment to us. So it's another way of bringing monies into the Federation. I mean, we've heard people out there, and time after time they say, oh, the government need to go and find ways to bring foreign direct investment into the country. And as soon as the government goes and find ways to bring foreign direct investment, these are the same people who now start to preach hail and brimstone and doom and gloom. And that's what they're up and down preaching, hail, brimstone and doom and gloom. But then if you ask them to please break it down for us and explain exactly what it is you're talking about, show us the hail, show us the brimstone, show us the doom and gloom, they have nothing to show you. They talk and they talk and they talk and they talk. They talk fast and they talk hard. But when you really look at the substance of what is being said, there's not a lot of substance to it. So I would advise the general public, what I would say to the general public, is that sometimes when people come to you with a story, examine the person who's bringing the story. Examine the messenger really good. Look at the messenger. Look at their track record. Look at what they are accustomed to doing. If they are accustomed to bringing doom and gloom for everything, then you know that that is their modus operandi. That is what they do. So you can't be listening to somebody who is always negative about everything. So you really have to examine examine what they're coming with. One thing I will tell you for sure. Okay, we have a caller. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are on the mark. Good night.
Good night, Troy. Good night.
Good night. How are you?
Not too bad, my brother. Not too bad. You know, for the past couple of weeks, I've been listening to this talk show with the Honorable Matt, and also you now. And each time you see certain callers calling and you ask them some questions, you can't answer. I feel that they can't answer because, you know, when you're asking them to tell you the truth, they bubble. It's too many hearsay. You know, and to me, I won't come on the radio and hear what people are saying. And you know, I listen to Honorable Matt continues telling them these things. And they're taking this, but they don't know this man he's a lawyer by profession. Professional, I call him a professional lawyer and a politician, and he's not a joke. And he does stand up against them.
When you want to know who somebody is, you just look at their track record, you know. And if you look at the track record of the Honorable Mark Bentley, you see who he is.
Right, and he's one man. I listen on these show talk so every time he on, and he don't stumble. And when he asking them the question, they don't want to answer. When the answer go around the bush. And this last caller that was speaking to you, every time he call on the radio, he hear. You know, and this is kind of thing. My question to you, Troy, as a government minister, you will listen to opposition. Or they making noise from you not to get investors to come in and build. You will take them on and study them?
The opposition, they have their job to do. And the opposition, they have their job to do. And it seems as though in Nevis that the job of the opposition is to oppose everything. You know, everything, whether it's supposed to be good for the people of Nevis or whatever, their job is just to oppose everything. That is what they see their job as.
Okay, their job. And you think you will take them on and stop because they're making a whole heap of noise?
No, but caller, what we have been doing and what we continue to do is to diligently work on behalf of the people of Nevis. Over the years, one thing you can be sure of, when it comes to the people of Nevis, when it comes to a group that is working on behalf of the people and fighting for the people of Nevis, whether it's for the rights of the people of Nevis, whether it's for the fair share for the people of Nevis, that has always been the concerned citizens movement, you know. When it comes to that, it's always the concerned citizens movement. Whenever it comes to any type of sellout, that is never the concerned citizens movement. You know, think about it. Think about it. Prior to 2013, when we heard about CBI and so on in Nevis, CBI was in St. Kitts, and the government in Nevis was in lockstep with the government in St. Kitts. They were not getting any of it for the people of Nevis, and they never said a peep on behalf of the people of Nevis. It took CCM to talk on behalf of the people of Nevis. It took CCM, and all when we continued, it was CCM who was always talking. When we got into unity, into the government with unity, and we started to get a better share for the people of Nevis, it was CCM who did that. And even though we were getting a better share for the people of Nevis, it was not the share that we were supposed to be getting. And we realized that what they were doing, what was being done at the time, was every year that you hear things not going as good as it should be going. And then 3 years after now, when you see the information, you realize that quite a lot of money was made on the CBI. And after we got to the point where we were agitating and agitating, those same persons who were supposedly working with us, who they went to? The same, when they were looking for people to go behind the back, is the same NRP they went to. Same NRP. And if you look at the situation right now, you know, with even the former Prime Minister, is them and the NRP in lockstep now. So anytime it's anything against the people of Nevis, you find NRP there. And when it comes to fighting for the people of Nevis, that is where you're always going to see the CCM. That's where the CCM stand up and we say, we are about the people of Nevis. We're here to build the federation, but we are a Nevis party and we are here to represent for the people of Nevis. That is what we're about.
And you know, when the investors come in here and start to work, right? The same people who you see making a whole heap of noise, okay? They got a trade with a toiling, carpentry work or whatever. It's the same man that does get a work.
Them are the first in line, right?
Yeah, they get a work.
First in line to get the work. And Carla, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for it to get to the point where they're going to get the work, you know. Because they are first in line to sell their land too. You understand? So it's not just that they're going to be first in line to get some work, but they are first in line to sell too. They're first in line to sell, and then they will tell other people, well, you don't sell. So I will sell. And then they go down the road with a placard and say to other people, well, you don't sell. That time they don't sell. You understand? Done got the promissory note to collect. That is the height of hypocrisy.
Listen, Troy, I know, okay? Let me say, because I got a listeners down here in Tatola, anyhow. And I know I got a few man who make a whole heap of noise, right? And we turn around all of them, you know, single house y'all build for people.
Mm-hmm.
You say, man, and get a lot of work. After I ask that question, you see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
You make a heap of noise. Who are they doing all the work? These are the kind of things, and you all never say, turn them back.
Well, you know, we are a government that work for and on behalf of all the people of Nevis. And
he never said that. No, you can't get a work because no. I just say you have the talent, you're from Nevis, and you don't get a work. No, you think as a politician, I don't like when politicians give eye for eye because you don't support me.
Eye for eye leave everybody blind, you know. I
can give you this work. I think if you have the trade and we have the work out there and everybody eat. How people can go sleep with that kind of behavior, Try?
I really don't know. You remember that we were talking about developing the airport and so on. Even the airport development, they want to protest. And imagine if the airport is enhanced, it is for the benefit of everybody. Even that they want to protest. So you would realize is every single thing that is good for the people of Nevis. You know, these people have a problem with, so it's just oppose for opposing. And I've seen some of the things that, you know, are being said on Facebook. And I'm asking myself, well, how can people just go out and say things without any evidence whatsoever, without providing any evidence whatsoever, and then just expect that people going to listen to them? You know,
we try. I got to tell you this, which I'll hang up in a while. I got to tell you this, okay? When you're overseas and you're listening to the talk shows, right? Them, and what make people eye open when them out, and then when they reach to the island, you see a difference. That's what has make people to show that it makes sense to tell lie. Because when I came up there for Culturama, and I was up there to Uncle funeral in January, and you see the difference in Nevis. So sometimes you have to visit the place and see it for yourself. That's my thing about it. And I'm trying before I leave, you all can't get an investor that can put on a horse track up in Nevis.
A racetrack?
Yeah, for horse. Because I think, right, this is one sport will do well around the Culturama season.
Well, you know, we used to have horse racing in Nevis. You know, we used to have horse racing in Nevis. And, you know, of course, I grew up around the horse racing, you know. My dad and my uncle, them always owned horses, and they were big in the horse racing. So I grew up being big in the horse racing too. So it's something that I would want to see come back. There have been discussions. I can tell you that there have been discussions around, you know, restoring the horse track, and we will see how that goes. But there are some discussions that are ongoing as it relates to that.
Why I tell you so, Troy, because let me tell you, when I'm up there for culture, I see the people are up there, right? And they don't have around. That will have the same time festival like how Culturama up there, and they don't have no horse race down here. And the people, if Nevis, you see Nevis get a track put down, Nevis will get a lot of business around Culturama. A lot of, I think, Sintomian and Crucial will come even for Culturama. And I think they will do good at that time. That's my thing. I would like to see Nevis look for investor and put on a track in Nevis. A good track. Not the one when somebody came me down the hill and up a hill track. A proper track, not cowboy track.
Sometimes the down the hill and the up the hill not so bad. You know, have you seen those tracks in the UK and so on? In the UK, the tracks have, you know, they go up and down too. You know, they undulate also. So it's not so bad.
Well, the track what I see, y'all had the time when somebody came in to visit down there. Therefore, we try a house. What don't half dead.
Don't say that, man.
But we have a pleasant night.
Yeah, you too, caller. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. We are just about 35 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. We have another call. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are On The Mark. Good night.
Good night, Chai.
Yes, good night.
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm okay too. Happy Independence to you.
Yeah, man. Same to you.
And happy Independence to the administration and to everybody who has anything to do with St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes.
Chai, you know, the piece of legislation that was passed, right, that is creating a lot of stir, right? I have been listening a bit, right? And I kind of wondering, right, if it is because it's something new to St. Kitts Nevis, right, that some people get a bit nervous, right, rather than listen enough to gather as much information as you can so that you can come to a proper conclusion. I think people get a little nervous because it's something new. And this usually happens with people. When something is new, people tend to get nervous quick. But this set of chatter, right? Before you have enough information, what it can do is to create hysteria in the country, right? And especially at this time when we'll be celebrating independence and so on, you really want to have some calm and some togetherness at this time. And then, you know, maybe after the independence, you know, you could have more chat on it. But I still find, though, that people should wait a while, gather enough information, so that when you talk, you have some information. Because I noticed that a gentleman called earlier and was saying something, and when you ask him a question regarding the same thing, he couldn't answer. But what I find might be helpful, right? Because earlier you spoke about independence and the football and the togetherness and all this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I find might be helpful is for the opposition to write a formal letter to the government requesting a meeting with them so that they can outline properly to them what the legislation entails, and then also what is the proposal before the government, and in discussion try to ascertain what really is the government view on the proposal that before them, because it's only a proposal for now, yes. But some people are jumping ahead as though, well, something has happened before. And I believe, again, this is a lack of information. And so it might be good for the opposition to request of the government to sit down with them. Because try to remember that in any elections, the government would win some seats and the opposition win some too, right?
Yes, yes.
So, you know, the opposition does represent a good percentage of the people too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find they could have a say too and should have a say. But it's only to me to approach it in a proper way. So request to have a meeting with the government. Sit down with the government. Let them outline to you what is before them. And then you also can make suggestions too. Because you is a part of the country and you is the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is your right too. But I find we've been practicing politics bad around here for too long now. And that is one of the problems.
But Carla, the thing is that whatever proposal has come is very preliminary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I know
and,
that, yes.
And normally with proposals, you know, a developer would come with their proposal, and you know, there would be some preliminary conversation and so on about what could work, about what can't work, and so on. And then that developer would now go back based on the feedback that they have gotten, and then they would come with something a little bit more elaborate and something that is closer to what you want. And then even then, now that will then be put through its paces and so on. So if we are only at the opening salvo, why is there the need for all of this? You know,
chatter.
I would call it fear mongering, because it's gone way past chatter. And why would anybody look at the bill that was passed, the SSZ bill, and you know, just start to propose doom and gloom? All that the SSZ bill does is create a framework, okay, within which you can now establish a certain
area,
special sustainability zone. There are still a lot of things that a developer would have to satisfy before either the Prime Minister, in the case of the federal, in case of something happening over in St. Kitts, or the Premier and the NIA, in case of something happening in Nevis, could sign off.
You're saying all this for the general public, because you know I'm a small businessman and proposals come before me all the time.
Yes.
And I have to present proposals too. So go ahead, but you explain it to the general public.
Yeah, for the sake of the public, I mean, it's important that the public understands that there's quite a lot that is involved in you know, doing any proposal. If it was a smaller proposal, then we have something in place where that proposal will go through, you know, the planning process. And if it is something that is tourism based, then it would come in front of the cabinet. In the case of this particular thing, it's something that is bigger and it could be a bit more impactful. So it is being dealt with in a, you know, in a certain way, but it's very preliminary still at this point. So, you know, I don't see why the need for all of the rancor.
Well, like I said, it might be most of it might be fear, because you know, fear of when you know when motor cars was made first, you know, someone had to walk 1 mile in front of the motor car with a red flag and shout danger. You know, people are fearful of something that is new, and so that's why I am saying that rather than just all this chatter, in my mind, and I'm suggesting this to the opposition, have a proper sit down, and the government, to me, should convene it.
You know,
if they request it.
But Carla, the thing is that I don't think that the opposition wants a sit down. I think that
we don't know yet.
I think that the opposition wants to fearmonger, and they want to try to get some sort of a political mileage from this. And I've heard people say that, oh, you know, you don't mess with Nevis people when it comes to land and that type of thing, and land is politics, and so
you know, me and you know a lot about them land.
You know, and of course, quite a lot of people have not gone to the south of Nevis, but you would know that I grew up as a youngster, running down there, going down to Whitehall, riding donkey going down to Whitehall, and then driving around past this same van radio and going all the way over to Whitehall as a youngster.
But I want to get back to what I was saying though, Charlie. You say you don't think they want to, but I am trying out this now because I feel, in all honesty, the government is the government, the opposition is the opposition. In any election, the government would get some votes, the opposition gets some. So both of them representing a good portion of the country. Normally, the government would win the majority seat or votes. Okay, but I am saying I don't have any problem with the opposition saying they have concern. My problem is the way they are going about it, and I am here suggesting to the opposition.
But Carla, you are fair, because I mean, anybody can have a concern about you know, anything. There's nothing wrong with having a concern and expressing that concern and asking for clarification.
So again, I want to say they should sit down and get the facts properly. The legislation is just a legislation. A proposal is just a proposal. I know about proposal. I have to do that over and over. My trades, that's what I have to do. And let me say this, try. Because this is what I usually do. The proposal will come before the government, right? And I imagine that the government will listen. Some people seem to be saying you shouldn't listen anything at all. I find that the government should sit down, listen, look over it, listen to what the people say, go back amongst themselves, scrutinize it, come up with their own, I don't want to use the word counter, because the word counter might be a strong word to say counter proposal, but come up with what they would like to see, and then get back with the potential investor again, right? And sit down, right? And see how you could come to a compromise. So I don't know why some people are so scared, because I believe that is what will happen, where the government will look over it, and of course the government will see some things that, oh, this year we can work with this, and this we can work with, and then you'll go back with the potential investor and discuss those things and see how you could come to a reasonable conclusion which would benefit the investor and also the country. It's not that the way usually I'm trying.
Carla, you know what you're saying is what really, you know, ought to happen. But you and I both know that the opposition doesn't really have any interest in seeing anything good happen for the people of Nevis under this government. That is the issue, you know. Because, I mean, God forbid those people in opposition were to swing around and get into government. I mean, they would be the ones trying to get this negotiation happen right now, you know. And it would no longer be doom and gloom and fire and brimstone, you know. It would be the best thing ever. It would be a great investment. You will hear them start saying, oh, we are going to make sure that it is a good deal for the people of Nevis and whatever. It is not about anything being good for the people of Nevis. It's just about politics. It's just about trying to prevent things from happening under this government. That is what it is about.
Yeah. Anyway, Chai, that's what you're saying, but I'm saying here no. Me saying no, though. I'm throwing this out because it's time for us to. I mean, opposition will always be opposition, but opposition must also realize that they have positive roles to play too, because they're representing a lot of the people too, and government must also recognize that too, and sometimes opposition can sit down with government and help to fine-tune certain things for the benefit of everybody.
Of course.
And what the opposition would be doing there is putting themselves in a good light with the electorates. And I also say the government should afford the opposition that opportunity too. Yeah. To sit down sometimes and discuss the thing. Ultimately, the government will have to do what they have to do. But listen and hear and see if they come with something good that can help too. The bottom line, what I'm trying to say is this. The opposition, they need to take a different approach. They have a right to look into the matter. They have a right to be concerned. They're the opposition. But I find it will be more helpful for the country, for everybody, if they take a slightly different approach and sit down and get the facts, so that when they talk, they're talking from facts, but also to try to help to make an input, and as such, put themselves in a good light with the electorates. Anyway, good day, Chai.
Thank you very much, Carla. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. We're 10 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We've been having a good run tonight. You know what's strange enough is that, you know, there's no monopoly on development, you know. Anybody out there in St. Kitts and Nevis, anybody who wants to do a development or who can go and entice somebody with a little bit of company with the means could go and get somebody to come and be an investor. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm here listening to the last caller, right? You know, there's an act that's passed in the House called Freedom of Information. Okay, good. With heat topic, you know nothing about that. Why opposition supposed to write letter, official letter to government? I mean, what do you feel of it? He sounds like he's so bright. But here now about the Freedom of Information Act, if government give out information, the opposition wouldn't have to write a letter to them to come sit down and ask this and ask that. What are you talking about? He sounds like he's so bright, but to me, he still ain't so bright. Thanks.
Thank you very much, caller. Do you have anybody else on the line? Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark, and we get a myriad of views here on The Mark. And one of the things about this show is that we allow everybody to, you know, share their views. As long as you are respectful, we'll give you the opportunity to share your views. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on The Mark. Good night.
Yes, Chai.
Yes.
Me back. And one you call say that this caller them talk about he hear. I know you hear things. I hear you hear things for the conversation.
But caller, you would have heard what I just said, and I said that we give everybody an opportunity to come and share their opinion. That is very important. That is a big part of the democratic process.
The last caller right on point. If anybody should differentiate between the government and the opposition and see who are create this stuff, and the government
creating what store, caller?
The store about the here is one bill go to parliament, regardless if it's a vehicle or not, and no consultation.
you're talking
But
about.
it passed and gazetted.
Mm-hmm.
It passed and gazetted. And then now that it done pass,
Mm-hmm.
and now you say go read the bill. It done pass. You don't go to Parliament and pass
But
before you go to Parliament and pass. Why I don't make that one consultation at that time?
But caller, I mean, if I could, bills are going to the Parliament all the time and passing. There's a process that normally happens in the Parliament. So what has happened with this bill is no different than what has been happening with bills over the years.
Is different. Number one,
no, it is no different. I mean, I have been around the politics for a little while. I mean, bills have come in and passed under Labour before. Bills came in and passed under Unity. Bills are now passing under Labour again. Over here on Nevis, ordinances have been passed under NRP. Ordinances have been passed under CCM using the same procedure or similar procedure.
You just remember Carla said that this one is new, you know. Ain't it?
But when a bill is passed, it's either an amendment or it's a new law. The SSZ, caller, have you read the SSZ
no, me not read the SSZ.
Okay,
but
caller,
Premier
caller, the SSZ law, right? If you go to the federal government's website, okay, there's a website that's online, or you can go into Google and you can type in laws of St. Kitts and Nevis, and it will take you to their site, and there's a copy of the law that is there. It is readily available for anybody who wants to download it. To download it, get a copy, and read it for themselves.
Wait, try it. What me try to say? You don't even get what me say.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
But
I'm saying it followed the regular course or the normal procedure that laws would follow to go through the House. So it would have gone to the House. It would have received a first reading. Okay. And then at that time, it would have been given to everybody. Everybody would have gone around and looked at it. And then they would have come back to the House. It would have had a second reading. They would have debated the law. And then after that, it would have been given a third reading and passed. And that is the procedure.
I understand all that, but you still not get the point.
Okay, so what is your point,
that they drive at. Okay, me no want to even say this, but here was Carlin was pressuring the town hall meeting to get some information.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no information, but the next thing one bill passed. You get the point I make?
Okay,
so I deal with the problem being
and so caller, so you're saying that somebody pressured, right? I was at the town hall meeting.
Yes.
I heard a question asked. I heard an answer given.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the answer that was given by the Premier, he has put it up on his own Facebook page. So that anybody who wants to hear the answer that was given could go to his Facebook page and hear the answer. You see, what happened is that the answer that the Premier gave is not the answer that the person wanted. And so the person continue to ask and ask and ask because they don't get the answer that they want. So if you ask somebody a question, sir, and you don't get the answer what you want, just because you don't get the answer what you want, you can continue and continue, but the question has been answered. You can't say that the question has not been answered simply because you don't get the answer that you want. That's not how life works.
You know, all what you say, you know, but you still not get the point.
I have gotten your point loud and clear. And what people are not understanding is that there's a difference between the law that creates a framework for something to be done and the actual agreement that brings into force the actual zone. There's a difference.
That's what me say, you know.
There's a difference.
I understand all what you say, but that's what me say. Hear what me say. The same act or the bill where for bring the framework that was not discussed with the citizens of Nevis before it go to the house and pass, and that's all me say.
But caller, I have already said to you that that is not the regular course of passing bills in the House. So every bill that is passed is not put out to the public and discussed with the public before it is passed. The bills are taken to the House and passed. That is what Parliament is for. That is why the people go and vote for their representatives to go to the Parliament and make law.
Well,
that is the normal course.
Well, me think
that is how it is. That is how it is in the United States. That is how it is in Trinidad. That is how it is in Barbados. That is how it is in Jamaica. That is how it is in the UK. That is how it is pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, but I know that our Erskine may say, and Erskine may rules I follow.
Who's that?
Erskine may.
Who's that? I'm not familiar with.
You're not familiar with Erskine may?
No.
Try the Erskine may rules you use, man, not the Parliament.
Well, I'm not familiar with the terminology. Sorry, forgive me.
Erskine may are the dictionary. Okay, some people even call them the Bible of Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
send me a copy. I have a copy of our rules, rules for our Parliament.
Okay, somebody else will discuss this week.
Yes.
Okay, good night, Charles.
All right, you have a wonderful
night. Have a nice night and have a
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We have just about 2 or 3 minutes more. We could probably take one more call if there's a caller waiting. If not, then, it's been a wonderful show tonight. And, it's always good to get differences of opinion. And coming on a show like this and doing a show like this over the years has taught me that people have wide-ranging opinions on many different things. You could talk to 10 people about the same topic and you get 10 different opinions on the topic. And what we have to do as a people is to learn to be tolerant of persons' opinions, to be tolerant of the views that people have, and so on, even if their views are not the same as our views. That is what makes democracy great. That is why a country like ours could really continue to flourish and move forward if we each try to respect each other, if we each respect the views that the other persons have. Simply because somebody does not believe all of the same things that we believe, we should not just villainize them because of that. We can be on different sides of the coin. We can believe in different things, but we can come together and work together for the good of the country. So as we are celebrating 42 years of independence here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I want to encourage us as a people to continue to find ways to work together, because the things that separate us, the differences that we have, are far less than the things that bring us together, are far less than the things that we all share in common, that we all believe in. And I truly believe that, that we have more things in common than what we have that, are not in common. And so I would admonish all of us as citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, as residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, of people who love this federation, the smallest sovereign country in the Western Hemisphere, that we continue to work together to build it together. It is our country. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for tonight. This show will be replayed tomorrow at 1. If you didn't catch us tonight, you can catch us then. Have a wonderful evening.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not